Hare Krishna. Welcome to Weekend Wisdom series on Bhagavad Gita. We are starting our discussion on chapter 12, the devotional service. This chapter will be covered in two sessions, and Arjuna is asking a very interesting question from Krishna in verse 1. And from verse 2 to verse 20, Lord Krishna is replying to that very question. So let's discuss what the question is. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So here Arjuna is asking, which form of worship of the Lord is better? So there are two ways or there are two approaches in which one can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One is to worship the Lord in His personal feature, and another is to worship the Lord in His impersonal feature. So what is the difference between the personal form and the impersonal form? So let's understand it with the help of a simple example. So when we say personal means that Lord has some personal features, the qualities, the attributes, the bodily form through which we can recognize Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna has three curved form. Lord Krishna always carries a flute. Lord Krishna has a peacock feather on his forehead. So like this, there are different features, there are different attributes of God. And those features or the attributes can be categorized as a personal feature of the Lord through which we can remember Krishna. When we talk about the impersonal feature, the impersonal feature means that God does not have any form. He is void. He doesn't have any specific qualities. He is nirguna. So in the personal feature, there is something to meditate. There is something to concentrate upon. When we talk about the impersonal feature, in the impersonal feature, there is nothing really exists to meditate. Let's take an example within our social circle. If we know something about our friend or a family member, and if we are somewhere far, then for us it's easy to remember about them if we know about them. But if we don't know about them at all, we cannot remember them. We cannot concentrate upon them. We cannot think about them. So likewise, if we know that, okay, Lord Krishna has these attributes, these features, this is how he looks like, then it becomes more easier to concentrate. So the personal feature and the impersonal feature. So this is a question that Arjuna has asked, that which form of worship is better. So Arjuna is simply trying to secure his position by asking this question. And this question is relevant even for all of us, so that we can follow the true method of worship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that's the aim of our life. Now in verse 2, Lord Krishna is replying to the very question raised by Arjuna. And he says that, fix your mind upon me with great faith and engage in my worship. So when we say about fixing the mind or engagement in worship, then the next thing is that we have to do something practical. We cannot just say that, okay, we are fixing our mind on Krishna. That's all. We have to do something practically in our day-to-day lives. How do we do it? For example, we cook food. We all need food to survive. We use that food in the service of God by first offering it to Krishna, then take it in the form of prasadana. We go to the market to buy different foodstuffs or any other article for our day-to-day use. Then we ensure that okay, this article I am buying, it is not just for myself. It is meant for the enjoyment of Krishna. So likewise, we try to cultivate our consciousness through different means so that we can engage every object of this world in the service of God. The money that we earn, we know that we use that money for ourselves, but we simply learn a very fact in life that okay, we are spending money on us or maybe on our family, and we should always keep in mind that this is our body. We are spending this money to keep our body fit and fine, and now that body should be engaged in the service of God. So these are the practical ways through which we can engage our mind on Krishna. Now when we talk about verse 3, 4 and 5, there Lord is talking about the impersonal feature. So there Krishna says that first of all this approach is indirect and it is very difficult and cumbersome. It is not easy for people to follow this approach because there is no object that exists on which you can really concentrate. So what should be done? While Lord Krishna is referring about the worship of the Lord in impersonal feature, then it is very difficult, it is cumbersome and is not direct. Why did Krishna talk about it? The answer to this question I will pick up in the end. Before that, let's discuss the very fact that impersonal form of worship is also recommended or mentioned here. We cannot completely negate this very fact that impersonal worship is not allowed. But there are some strict conditions attached to it. The first condition is that the person who is worshipping Lord Krishna through his impersonal feature, then they must have a good sense control. The second condition is that he should have the vision to see everyone equally. And the third thing is that that person should work for the welfare of the living beings. So that the conception has to be there that okay, I have to control my senses, I have to see everyone on the equal platform, I have to do some welfare or missionary activities which can be beneficial for the society as a whole. So simply theoretical knowledge will not work. Even an impersonalist has to do some action, some activity. So this is indirect form of worship. Then we have devotional service. Devotional service is a direct form of worship. It is more easier to perform and it is more natural for the soul to execute. Like we practice devotional service, we can easily do it within our day-to-day lives. We don't have to just renounce everything, but we simply have to engage everything in the service of the Lord, which is favorable. So 3, 4 and 5, Lord Krishna is agreeing to the very fact that okay, this is also fine to practice the worship of the Lord through the impersonal feature, but it has its limitation. Now let's look at text 6, 7 and 8. There Lord Krishna is talking about the direct method of devotional service where a devotee has attachment for God. Attachment, or you can say love for God. So when someone has love for someone, then that person's mind and intelligence, everything is fixed on that person. So likewise, if a devotee has some attachment or love for God, then his mind and intelligence is always fixed on God. Then what does he do? He simply understands and practices the very fact that God is great and my life is meant to serve him. I have to please him by any possible means as he expects from me, and then I am ready to sacrifice everything that ultimately pleases God. So there is a concept of worship, there is a concept of engagement in devotional service, there is a concept of meditation. We are meditating on God, and then we are fixing our mind. We are concentrating that okay, this is a personal form of the Lord, and I have to worship this very form. Then what happens? What is the outcome? Then Krishna says there that I become the swift deliverer. Or in other words, that Krishna personally comes to rescue that person from the clutches of this material world. So a devotee doesn't have to plan through the yoga practice about his next destination. Lord is going to take care of it. He has already designed a plan for his devotees. So Lord has his career Garuda, and he personally comes on that career to take his devotees to his eternal home, back to Godhead. So we just discussed about 6, 7 and 8. And this 6, 7 and 8 is focusing on the direct method of devotional service, which is going to please Lord Krishna if someone has some attachment for the Lord. Then Lord Krishna further talks about the different grades or the levels. If someone doesn't have attachment, then what that person should do. So there are different levels, there are different set of people in the society, what they should do if they do not have attachment for the devotional service. So the first thing that Lord Krishna says in text 9, that if you do not have attachment, if you cannot directly perform my devotional service, no problem, then follow the rules and regulations, the principles enjoined in our Vedic literatures. And through those principles, we can gradually cultivate our attachment for Lord. So rules and regulations are very important, and devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, they must follow it. For example, devotees don't take onion garlic. Devotees should wake up early morning. They should get ready. They should render some service to Krishna. We should offer food to Krishna and eat. So we have to practice devotional service under certain rules and regulations. If we do not have attachment, this is the next thing that Krishna has advised. Then third thing that Krishna says that okay, if you cannot follow the rules and regulations, then you start working for Krishna. So try to render some voluntary service. Okay, if you cannot directly engage yourself in the devotional service, help others who are engaged in that service. So basically, we see that for the propagation of the Krishna consciousness movement, or spreading this message across the world, definitely money is required. So if you cannot directly engage yourself, donate. That's how you sacrifice the results of your work. So basically the text 10 and 11 is on the same theme. So Krishna says that okay, if you cannot directly assist devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, then give up the result of work so that you do not get attached to the fruits of the result of the work that you perform. So again, the money consideration comes into the picture. Give some charity. Give money in donation so that at least your money is engaged for some welfare activities. And when that money is engaged in the welfare activities, that means the money is getting purified. You are not attached to that money because you have sacrificed that money. Your hard-earned labor you have given in some sort of service. It can be direct service to Krishna, or it can be indirect service to God by engaging that money in some philanthropic initiatives. So this is the next level. So this is covered in text 10 and 11. So now the next situation. If you cannot do this also, then cultivate knowledge. Learn, listen, cultivate this practice of gaining the knowledge about me, about the different aspects of the Vedic system. So the more you will cultivate knowledge, the more you will be able to meditate. The more you will be able to meditate, the more you will be able to cultivate this tendency to engage your results of work either directly in the service of God or indirectly. So some sort of renunciation will get cultivated within your heart. Here we see that Krishna is advising Arjuna that okay, if you cannot do this, then do this. If you cannot do this, then do this. We know that everything happens gradually. No one becomes a pure devotee on the day one. And Krishna has talked about the direct method, and then Krishna has also talked about the indirect method. But the stress is on the direct approach by engaging in the pure devotional service, and the indirect approach is applicable for the devotees or for the people in general who cannot take up the devotional service directly. That is why Krishna is recommending how they should engage themselves in some sort of service. So their focus of life should not be just enjoyment, the general mass of the society. They should also cultivate some sort of renunciation within their heart with the help of knowledge, by giving money in charity, for donations, for different initiatives in the society, so that money is purified, the mind is detached from the fruits of the work. And that's how gradually one will be able to come to the platform of the pure devotional service, which is the direct method. So someone may say that okay, we'll follow the indirect method. Why do we need to follow the direct method? So indirect method, as we discussed, that it's gonna take time, a lot of time. So one is obviously it's gonna take time. Another is that it's difficult, it's cumbersome. That is why the more stress has been laid upon the direct method of engagement in devotional service by worshipping the personal feature of the Lord and not the impersonal feature. So last thing, during our discussion on this chapter, I raised a question: why did Krishna talk about the direct method of worship and the indirect method of worship? Why did he do so? So let's understand that. So we know that in our society there are different set of people. Not everyone is going to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord directly. But Lord has to take care of everyone because we all are son of God. So it is his responsibility. And he has to devise plan in some or other form so that everyone can reach to him. The only difference can be okay, one may reach within this life itself, and someone may take lives and lives together to reach to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in our society there are people with different mindsets, and Lord Krishna has to use different strokes for the different folks. That is why he has talked about the direct method, the personal feature form of worship, and the indirect method, the impersonal feature form of worship of the Lord. So to summarize the discussions of chapter 12 that we discussed today, the part 1, here we saw that Arjuna raised an interesting question from Krishna, that which form of worship is better, whether the personal form or the impersonal form. So Lord Krishna clarified that in text 2 that personal form of worship is better than the impersonal form. Then he said, okay, one who is not able to come to the platform of the personal form directly, then one can engage on the impersonal form of worship. But then it has conditions, there are some limitations, it is not that easy. Then in 6, 7 and 8, Lord Krishna talked about what does personal form of worship really involves, the practical aspects of it. Then 9, 10, 11 and 12, Krishna is talking about people who cannot directly engage in the personal form of the worship of the Lord. So for them, what are the indirect facilities available through which they can gradually cultivate their attachment for the Lord and come to the platform of the direct worship. So with this note, we conclude our discussion of part 1 of chapter 12, the devotional service. In the next session, we'll talk about the part 2 of chapter 12. Until then, stay connected. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.